ask some people, I asked my daughter recently, why will you work? Why would you work? And she said, for money. But it's unclear whether that defines work. Is it activity for which you get paid or not?
Money itself is not a purpose. It's a way to purpose.
It is the increasing expectation, I think, that employees have. They want more out of their work life than simply a paycheck.
I spend most of my awake life here at work, so it needs to be something that fulfills me.
When you connect with a company that you feel passionate about and that you're doing the right thing, it doesn't feel like work.
The first thing you want from a job is to be happy to get up in the morning and get after it. Maybe it's because you're happy to spend time with your colleagues, having great conversations and having fun. Or maybe you don't have to go to the office because you found your own work-life balance by working remotely. In a nutshell, our working environment plays a big role in how we picture our work.
There's something really nice about being an employee is that usually you have colleagues and you're surrounded by people, and sometimes they can even replace your family. And this sense of belonging that you get by working with others, whether they are your colleagues or not, by the way, is something that provides a lot of satisfaction at work. And those little signs, the little cues that you get from others, whether it's just, hi, how are you, and see you tomorrow, this little see you tomorrow, that's something that's much more important than we think it is, because it says you have a future with the group.
We believe in having fun at work, right? It's part of the Ben & Jerry's ethos. When the guys were in business the first year from 1978 to 1979, they said, we have to come up with a slogan so people understand what our business is. And at that time, they had the belief of being a better company. So Ben's his quote was, business has a responsibility to give back to the community. Jerry's quote was, if it's not fun, why do it?
Oh yeah, if it's not fun, why do it? It's like a mantra here. Like, if you truly are not having fun with what you're doing, like, there is no point for you to be doing it. And like, if you get the chance to talk to other people, you will see that that rings through. Right,
even with our name titles, like we're saying, our title at work, you could have a regular boring business title, but the idea when you meet with people and you say, I'm from Ben & Jerry's, here's my title, they're always going, man, Ben & Jerry's, you guys know how to have a good time. When I was working here 25, 30 years ago, a truck would back up with blueberries. And we would shut down the offices and we would all go out and help unload blueberries because it was fruit, it couldn't, last all day long. So we said it was a priority. And that idea of working together was a pretty magical thing, right? Pretty unique when you're a small company. When you grow that way, to be able to still keep people involved, that it takes more work, it takes more effort, but it's something I think we're really dedicated to.
But we've never lost that fun in what we do. We're constantly joking with each other, playing little pranks on each other. It just makes it fun to show up, to know that you can have fun and you can goof around and still get your job done. But it definitely makes the hours fly by a little faster. My wife told me, hey, they're hiring for summer tour guides. Why don't you see, if you can get a job there? So I think the reason why people come is varied. I think the reason why people stay is culture and how they're treated and what the company's all about. That's been my experience here. I definitely planned on this being a short stop on the map for a summer and then on to something different, and then 12 years later, I'm still here.
When you connect with a company that you feel passionate about and that you're doing the right thing, it doesn't feel like work, right? It doesn't feel like effort. It feels like I am excited to come to work and to do the things that we get to do. And so that's the thought in terms of like, why choose a company? If you can find one that motivates you and one that you connect with personally, go do that.
I don't have to be someone I'm not, so I get to come up here and be myself. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, so like I'm American, but I'm from the Caribbean. So Vermont is a very different, culturally very different place from home. I feel like at Ben & Jerry's, I get to come as myself. I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not. I don't have to hide my accent. I just can be 100% myself.
Perks you get at work are also an important part of the working environment. One of the funny ones at Ben & Jerry's is getting 3 pints of ice cream a day. That's what dreams are made of. But there's also one kind of perk that some companies are starting to offer their employees, and I know that it's something that some people can only dream of: an unlimited holidays policy. Let's return to France and meet with the team at Open Classrooms to find out more about it. The company started when Matthew and Pierre were only teenagers, and they wanted to offer online courses. Since then, they've come a long way, and they now have a team of hundreds of people dedicated to making education accessible to all.
A couple of years ago, we decided to implement this unlimited pay holiday policy, and we want to make sure that you will take this time. And it's not like, oh yeah, it's there, but there is social pressure not to take it, right? Because this would be bullshit. So we implemented a bonus of 1,000 euros every time you take a vacation that is longer than 3 weeks. So the company tells you, take more than 3 weeks every year, and we will pay you 1,000 euros to do so, because we believe it's going to be good for you. And because it's going to be good for you, it's going to be good for the company and for the rest of the organization.
This is not something basic. It means that you don't have to worry anymore if you have to pick one day off to attend personal matters, or if you need to rest. You don't have to worry about this. So as long as you perform on a long-term basis, it's okay, right?
A great work environment is not just a beautiful office space where people will find wonderful canteens, the way Silicon Valley companies have defined great work environments over the past 20 years. A great work environment today, for a lot of jobs, is flexibility in the way you approach time and space at work, especially in services, especially in knowledge work. A lot of people want to combine their own workspaces. Some people want to live close to the mountains and go ski every weekend. Others want to be next to a beach and go surf every weekend, whatever. The flexible way you can approach work and space, that's your environment.
I got to know this area during the pandemic. Thanks to Open Classrooms, I was able to work from here for about 2 months. I fell in love with the area. It just brings together everything that I like to do in my personal time. You know, cycling, walking in the nature, hiking. The sea is not very far. So I felt when I was there last year that I would love to live here maybe one day. It allows me to still continue to do the job I was doing before for Classrooms, have the impact that I've had so far, but also do the things that I like. This is a future of work.
So we're a remote-first company, not a remote-only company. So we still have offices, and we're in a headquarters in Paris. We have offices also in Nantes, in London, in New York. We want to give the freedom, the choice to our employees. We want also to be closer to our students. Our students study online, so it feels only natural that we collaborate and we work online too, to some extent, right?
I can only agree. Asynchronous communications are the new norm. Even me. I've never commuted to an office, and I work remotely every day. And most of my friends working in the service industry tend to do the same. That's a pretty attractive working environment, isn't it? But I wonder if it's the same in every industry. What happens to people whose jobs can't be done remotely? I went to the middle of the UK to a Saint-Gobain glass factory. As you can imagine, someone has to be there to keep the machines running.
A nice website, good salary, good benefits, and a clear mission can help to bring people in. But what really makes people want to stay is the experience they have once they're in the company. I've spent more than 20 years working in manufacturing industry, so I've seen how it creates long-term relationships, friendships, and bonds between employees. I think some of that is because we are so beholden to the process. The manufacturing process is so important. And when you get technical hiccups or difficulties, it's really important that everybody comes together to solve those issues as quickly as we can so that we can keep making our products and keep supplying our customers. It's very important that within the course of your working day, it is not 100% about work. There is actually time for conversation, just to spend some time with people, to talk about what you did at the weekend or what TV show you're watching. And that's fine. It's a really, really important part of how people connect with each other and absolutely needs to be encouraged in the workplace.
So it feels like the first motivational driver is to create a good work environment. It seems obvious that we should all have friends at work, have fun, and enjoy flexibility. But I think it's good to remind people that this is the foundation, because a lot of companies already fail to provide this kind of environment. But a great working environment isn't enough, right? We still need to enjoy what we do, the task itself, and that's the second motivational driver. And on that topic, I love Letitia's analysis. She recommends reconnecting with the values of craftsmanship.
Usually when I speak about craftsmanship, I tend to speak about craftspeople and self-employed people and freelancers. But in fact, the values of craftsmanship, autonomy, responsibility, creativity, can be compatible with being somebody's employee. We've inherited this world of work where the head and the hands were separated in a violent way. So you had those people in charge of thinking, designing the processes, the engineers, the thinkers. And then on the other hand, you had the people whose sole job was to execute a task and to do it in a very reliable way, in a very repetitive way. And this is a very violent thing for most people. This is not the way we would naturally approach work. Naturally, our intelligence is as much in our hands as it is in our head. And a lot of people today want to reconcile the head and the hands. And it can mean working with your hands or using your hands more, but it can also mean basically making things, and that involves the head as much as the hands.
Woodworkers, chocolatiers, ceramists, they all know how to reconcile the head and the hands. To better understand Letitia's theory, I met with a craftsman whose work I have admired for years. He is based in Chamonix-Mont-Blanc, surrounded by mountains. You can imagine how much I was looking forward to meeting him. Peter makes modern free-ride skis out of wood. And he didn't choose the worst place for his studio, did he?
So I got the idea, strangely, to make a modern free-ride ski with a solid ash core, using the ash in its finest quality to make something that's performant, modern, but also with that traditional material. It can only be done on a very small scale, like on a craft scale. Basically, it starts from the tree, from the log, where I'll take a log they've chosen in ash, and I will start looking at the grain to see where I can put the core material, what I can use to make the ski. Because every shape of a ski, every size of a ski will be different and will create the kind of action the ski is going to bring to us. It's kind of like making a car. You can, if you make a truck or if you make a sports car. It's a challenging process because there's always another step to start and to prepare. It's never ending. When you've assembled one, you go into the finishing process of the ones that were assembled before. So it's kind of like a dance. But if that intensity is not brought in every single step of making the ski, even the ones that are very tedious, the sanding, the emptying of the wood chips when the dust collection's full. I mean, people don't see a lot of the steps that are just kind of grueling carpentry, maintaining things. But that's super important. And I think that that is also the interest of it,
So craftsmanship is not solely for people working with their hands in the strictest of sense and making things with wood. It's also just basically being at peace with who you are and using all of who you are at work.
It's not just about thinking what kind of benefit you're going to make of something. It's about how the object is going to be used, how it will last, how the people who are going to use it will create that sentimental tie with this pair of skis. Well, most of our clients are very passionate skiers, love the mountains, same as I. So I start by asking them what they like to do and where they ski. And very quickly, I understand what they're interested in the mountains. I mean, some people are really looking just for free ride, pure powder as much as possible. Some people are skiing in the resorts and also powder skiing, kind of a mixed use. And some people say, no, we're really mainly with the family on the slopes. And I think that's satisfying and very special when you can make an object that someone actually can use for a long time and they fall in love with. On our level of production, very small, maybe 100 pairs of skis at most a year, we're able to bring that quality to the people I make skis for, and that's a great pleasure. Oh, I don't count the hours. I've never counted the hours that I work, but often they're very long days. Long days because there's always something else to do. Long days because that allows you to be even more prepared for the next day. In the craft process, often it's really cool to glue things together at night so that the next morning you can continue the next steps. So often they're really long days. But since I enjoy what I'm doing, it's not really a problem. I don't wear a watch, I never have. I have a biological clock, and it's more about going from each step to the next in that whole fabrication process.
So creativity is not just being Picasso. Creativity is finding a unique solution to a problem and using your head to find it. So a lot of people who work in finance or in accounting and work on Excel spreadsheet, you do not usually associate an Excel spreadsheet to creativity, but it's actually usually very creative. And if you've done a little bit of mathematics, you know that it can be super challenging to find a unique way and a unique path to solve a problem. And Excel is a tool to do that.
I definitely think we can find creativity in every realm of work. And the most important thing is that when people choose to do something, they're passionate about it and interested in it. That has just as much creativity in every moment as I do when I'm making an object or a ski. Creativity can be found everywhere, and that is what makes the world a beautiful place. Everyone, I think, has creativity in them. Some people don't maybe admit it or think they're creative.
Wow. Peter truly represents the craftsmanship spirit. I now have a better understanding of it. When you see a beautiful object, a wonderful piece of art, to get to this end result, you need to bring so much intensity to your craft. And I agree that we're all creative. We just express it differently. After such a meeting with Peter, I needed to see if people working behind computers could really connect with the values of craftsmanship. I took a plane to meet with the team at Mindera. They call themselves software craftsmen.
Software craftsmanship. Well, building software is like building anything else. It can actually be a form of art. We use software every day on our phones, on our computers, and someone built it. It's not just something that appears out of thin air. It's not made by a computer. It was made by a person.
So the idea of when you're a craftsman, a normal craftsman, when you're working with wood, you would build like some furniture, and on the back, if you're a real craftsman, it would look as good as on the front. So something that no one would see normally. And I would look at software craftsmanship like that. So the code itself, the process itself, it's carefully made. And it's just not looking at the results. The process as a whole is part of the result. And sometimes it's just when you do something simple that solves a very complex problem, that's beauty.
The way people write code is very different from each other. And you can also see traces of their own personalities there, the way they organize it, the way they document it.
Yeah, so I think you need to be proud of what you're doing. So I think that's a key thing. And I think if you're not proud of what you're doing, you're probably going to end up just doing it for the money. To be proud of what you're doing, you're going to put a lot of you into whatever you're doing. So that means that if you have more autonomy, you're going to put more of yourself into it. You're going to be more creative in building stuff. You're going to be responsible for what you're doing. So I think I see a lot of those values and as needs to create craftsmanship.
Autonomy, creativity, responsibility. These are the values of craftsmanship that the members at Mindera are able to find in their day-to-day jobs. They have a pretty unique approach to management, as they don't really have managers.
So we work in a different way. We do not have management. We work in a collaborative way, all of us together, making decisions together. And this, I believe, is different than many companies. So we do not have one person making the decision for all of us. We together make the decisions.
In our culture, we really don't control people's time as long as just they're delivering what they need to. I think that's something important. Like I would never control my team just to make sure they are working from 9 in the morning to 5. If they want to go for break and surf, everyone is free to do that, as long as you're just doing your work at the end. We have a flat hierarchy. Like, you don't need to go through all the levels before you need to take a decision, right? So you don't have a boss.
Some people that work here kind of reached me and said, you want to join us? Told me about the company itself, and I found it was like an anarchy, communist style thing. It was kind of confused me. How do you don't have managers? How do you kind of do things? Who tells you what to do? Where are the borders? That's what fascinated me. Like, I want to know more. Is this real? Is this just corporate nonsense that you just speak out just to kind of get people on board? It's real. So we don't have managers in the world. We don't think we need managers. And for the past 7 years, we didn't need them. So we just needed people, autonomy, and build up on that.
The first time I got here, I asked, well, so what's my job description? What am I supposed to do? And the thing they asked me is, what do you want to do? So I just started seeing what everybody else was doing, and I started giving inputs on my first day on how, well, maybe we can change this, or maybe we can try and change that. On the first day I got here.
Here I have ownership of everything I do. If I decide to do something, well, it was me who decided to do it, or it was like a group decision, a team decision, and it was very democratic. Everybody voted, let's do it like that. Mm-hmm. And you feel like you have ownership of the process, and that ownership makes me feel like that this company belongs to me too. The reason why many people stay here is because of the culture, definitely. That's the main reason why I'm here. You could offer me double of the salary, and I don't see myself moving.
All right, so we've seen that a company can grow without managers. But you can actually also have a similar work environment with managers. Most companies aren't ready to get rid of them altogether. But the role of a manager is to create an environment where everyone feels safe taking initiatives, speaking up, and the manager is there to facilitate that and to provide recognition.
It's a relationship of trust, and I think it's why I'm here today. To me, being trusted and believing in my own capabilities, giving me autonomy, is what helps me, perform well, but also is going to be my main driver, knowing that I can also be authentic, like my true self, that I won't have to add any filters to how I say things, is really, really important. And I do have this in my relationship with my manager.
I think it's hugely important for us to encourage autonomy within our workforce. There are lots of opportunities for it. We want people to really share in the success of the business, and through that, to find that ability to solve their own problems. It's very rewarding to actually be able to spot a problem, find your own solution, do your own analysis, and be able to put that solution in place, and also be recognized for that. Hugely important.
We've discovered a few motivational drivers to find meaning in work. Of course, you need a great working environment, colleagues who will become friends. The trade-offs are still important, flexibility too. Then you also have to like what you're doing, the task itself. But is there something more to work? If I'm ready to offer the most precious thing I have in my life, my time, 8 hours a day, I want to make it worthwhile. I want to contribute to projects that matter to me. I want to feel useful.